So, hi everyone. I'm super excited today and for our second guided virtual adventure at the Immersive Learning Research Network. And I'm so happy to have here two of our amazing members, our president, Jonathan Richter, and Michael Hamoka. Hi. And we have our wonderful guest speaker today, Evgeniya Simmons. And her presentation today and her talk is about Virtual Horizons empowering educators with VR Travel Expo for immersive field trips, cultural exchange, and beyond. And I know it's going to be an incredible session today because I've seen the app and I was really blown away. I'm going to introduce Evgeniya and then and talk a little more about like her presentation today, and then I'm gonna leave it for you. So Evgeniya, she had more than 10 years of hands-on experience in the travel industry, working as a travel agent, a licensed New York City tour guide, and a tour ambassador at One World Observatory. Evgeniya developed a deep passion for discovering the world and sharing her knowledge with others. Her journey took an exciting turn when she transitioned into the realm of technology, specifically focusing on 3D modeling and XR development. She published her photographic guidebook to New York City in 2019 and developed an interactive augmented reality app to serve as the book's companion. The project was successfully funded on Kickstarter. Since then, she worked with various clients building complex 3D environments across many virtual platforms. Yet, Evgenia's true aspiration has always been to transform the way people explore, research, and learn about the world and cultures, equipping them with the tools to create unforgettable journeys more efficiently. She founded VR Travel Expo in 2022. Now its path to become an international hub for educators, cultural preservationists, climate activists, and travel experts to connect network, design travel plans, organize cultural exchange events, among many, other activities. And so about the event today, it's the VR Travel Expo is a social virtual reality platform for curious travelers. The app's mission is to transform how people research travel while promoting sustainable tourism and raising important issues regarding climate change, culture preservation, and environmental protection. And the app's aim is to invite people to explore how educators can use their platform to develop immersive curricula and captivate students with lessons on geography, culture, history, and more. And the technology allows students groups to virtually visit any location on the planet directly from their classroom. It's like imagining hosting an educational session on the history of the Pyramids of Giza, climbing to the summit of Mount Everest, or walking the Great Wall of China. And it engaged students to share their innovative ideas and contributions to building a platform that supports the global educational community. And so I can't wait to hear your presentation, Evgenia. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I actually wanted to do a quick intro, but you told already most of it. So I'm going to skip very quickly about our mission and who we are. Just a couple of things. You can see here pictures from the time when I worked as a tour guide in New York City. And majority of my work was working with student groups. So they were from all over the United States, from Canada, sometimes from Mexico. And when I pretty much started my the app developing, so I think that the birth of the app was 2022 when ChatGPT came out. That's when I transitioned from just building beautiful environments to coding, doing hard coding, building hard architecture. For me, the path was to transition into the travel industry back, to bring travel industry into VR. But as we started doing a lot of customer interviews, and kind of trying to understand our product market fit. We realized the travel industry is not as excited about VR. They think we're a competitor. They think that it's taking away from the actual travel experience. And I recently pretty much started, why don't I just tap into the education community and see how they will respond? It was actually mind-blowing. When I started talking to Laurel, I started talking to Amany. I actually went this weekend. I spent at the USF at the startup weekend, and I showed my app to students, and they were extremely excited. And they were telling me how they can use it. And I told them, this is what I want. This is what I want. I want you guys take the app and figure out how you want to use it in the classroom, in education. And the funny part was that this group of students, oops, hold on. Oops, sorry. This group of students walked with me to Alan Clary. So he is the executive of entrepreneurship at the Knoll Center at US South. And he originally didn't really want to try it. He said, I don't have time, but students were pressing him. They said, okay, go try it. And he tried it and he loved it. And he pretty much said he was visiting Grand Canyon. And at the end, he was like, I'm great. I want to talk to you. And we're having a meeting again next month. Um, and I'm super excited about what our app can do in education. A couple of things that we are working on. I'm going to jump into the demo. We have a lot of a few core scenes where we're trying to figure out how to make the travel and the whole entire world accessible, and for people to understand it easy, not be overwhelmed, be comfortable. And if they do get a little stressed, they can come back and start where they left off, right? So we have a lot of countries, we have a lot of countries. And not only that, we also have a lot of history. So, right, so one place around the world, it also can be broken down into layers, right? What age, what century something happened. So we're trying to not only give you access to the environments, also give you access to timelines. So we're constantly trying to innovate. And another thing, also we have access to the digital twins. So that part is still in experimental phase because we're using Google Tiles, and they're a little bit not very paying a lot of attention to VR, but I feel like we as a collective community can make them try to start paying more attention, because if we do show them that, yes, student want it, yes, this is a great educational tool, come on, let's go, let's make it optimized for VR. Um, so, and another thing that we're also working on is AI helper. It's a little robot that will be helping you to answer questions and navigate the app and stuff like that. So we are all currently on MetaQuest, and we are also built on Unity. So that's possible. We're going to be working on Apple Vision Pro eventually, and on the web browser. Not sure so much as desktop. We're still discussing that, but web browser support on certain scene, not the entire app, but like certain scene when you don't want to jump into VR, you can just maybe put in a browser that will be supported. Any questions? No questions? All right. So I can jump into the app itself. So I'm going to be showing it through Unity. Let me share the screen. But this is what you will get right now if you sign up with us, and I will share your access. There is one little bug we're working on. We fixed the whole ton. Remember this, we are in alpha, everything is bootstrapped, we don't have investment, everything we're working on is all 100% us. All right. Let me know if you can see the screen. Anybody?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay, good. Let me start. Hope it will handle. There you go. All right. Okay, so once you are here, this is a login page, our logo, landmarks. Right now you can connect with the name, but you can also do quick connect with anonymously. And this is the homestead theme. Here we are planning on doing either maybe featured destination around the world, or maybe creating an ability for you to pre-sort wherever you want to go, maybe your dream travel list. Right now we have a dummy avatar. Of course, we're working on that. We're going to have beautiful avatars. The main map is the main way to navigate around the app. So all these maps, all of the countries will be available for clicking. When you click on the country, you'll be able to go into that country and learn a little bit more about that. Also, we have hubs. So if you are in AltSpace, if you remember AltSpace, I loved AltSpace, and I brought in some UI. And a lot of those worlds, if you remember, I don't know if you remember, I had Coral Reef was one of the popular places in AltSpace, Arctic Retreat, the Giraffe Band was popular, cruise ship had thousands of visits there. And I decided to just bring them back here. So a couple of our core environments is the Continents Hall and Discover Station. So Continents Hall are a reflection of the map, right? So the map is when you click on the B on the right controller, the map will come up. So this is pretty much mirroring that map. And what we believe we can do, maybe at a glance, landmarks, what's happening in Asia, what's happening in this continent, maybe some kind of promotional ads here or something like that. We have Antarctica, Asia. So imagine if you bring a group of students, and the students can start playing a game, name a country, and whoever is going to be go quickly find the country, maybe win a little prize or something like that. So that's a very nice, comfortable way to see everything at the same time. Right? And so again, all the countries will have portals into an expo hall for every country. And there will be something like this where you can learn about the country, the best time to travel, what the country has, what kind of topology, the size of the country. So we wanted to give it very quick at a glance. Another one that we have, another core environment is the Discover Station. This one will have events, and one of the tire menus. So tire menu, when you can grab it and just rotate it like that, we are going to be sorting it by the type of travel. So diving, as you can see, we have flags, but we're still working with UI. We're still trying to figure out what's the most comfortable way for people to click. So all of this also will become portals. Caves, so we also have a cave system, all the caves that will be that around the world. Mountains, waterfalls, canyons. As you can see, it changes, becomes a really beautiful environment. Also imagine having a student group here and maybe deciding where you guys want to go. You already have a set itinerary planned. Any questions? In the chat, maybe, Amany, can you check if there's any questions?
Yeah, if there are any questions, please feel free to post them on the chat.
All right. So another thing what we're working on is the places. So places is the actual 3D data, 3D environment. We are working with Cesium. Cesium, a partner with Google Tiles. So in some environment we're using Google Tiles, some environment using Cesium. There is a difference between them, but it's not really, not that noticeable. Okay, let's go to Grand Canyon. So Grand Canyon, I just actually created this lodge yesterday because I thought, it's kind of cool if you want to come meet here with people, friends. It's not a 360 video. It's not a 360 image. It's actually 300. It's actually scanned environment. We are in the next few weeks, we're gonna add a fly mode where you can remember, if you remember, Altspace had the pan. When you pull up the pan, grab it and start flying. So something like that we want to work on. And at some point, I walked all the way to Colorado River, and what we're working on. There will be a list of points, several points around the Grand Canyon, and you can go in those preset points, right? The south rim, north rim, all the way to the bottom of the canyon, or something like that. And our long-term goal is to, of course, have a ranger. Maybe we'll create maybe also AI ranger that can answer questions about Grand Canyon. And also imagine having a student groups here, maybe try learning about corrosion, where all this dirt went, right? If this is a Colorado River, what happened? Where's the dirt? How it was layered? The teacher can bring up their own a set of images, maybe some sediments, maybe we'll pull up some rocks, and they can learn about that. Another place that kind of like actually Machu Picchu, when I was at the USF this weekend, this girl, the student, she spent a lot of time here. And as she was here, there was other students watching on computer. She was telling them stories. She said, okay, yeah, I learned that Machu Picchu is going to be closed because of the corrosion. And she kept going on and about the history. I was like, girl, that's awesome. This is what I want to know. This is what I want this experiences to be, because this will not be available for people. And to get here, of course, expensive, of course, you know, very costly. You understand, right? So let me show you maybe one more. This one, I didn't change the picture yet. This is also brand new. Let me see if it will. This is New York City. Just remember that Quest 2 is a little bit weaker than Quest 3, obviously. So we're having trouble with Quest 2, but last week we made a lot of adjustments. We might be able to pull it off on Quest as well. This is New York City. This is my home for a long time, and I know everything like my palm of my hand, all the best vintage points of New York. We're gonna have also a list of places. You know, by Central Park, there will be a Rockefeller Center, World Trade Center, maybe Brooklyn Bridge, the Empire State Building, and everything, right? So we're going to have all these points where your students can come in and have a tour of New York City without leaving the town. So when travel industry complains that VR is not real, I mean, if you have a choice of never going there or going virtually and spending barely any money compared to what you're going to spend, I think that's a pretty good alternative. Any questions?
Yeah, Evgeniya, I have a question. When you mentioned scanned environment, do you mean photogrammetry?
No. So what happens is that Google and they have access to the satellite. I don't know how they do it, but they use satellites. They scan it from the space, right? And then they stitch it somehow. So what's going on here? If I give you a fly jetpack right now, and you're gonna fly, you can keep flying all around the world. So the tiles will just be loading procedurally. So the tiles will what you see now is just a small part, and then when the camera, when you move, the whole environment will keep loading with you. You know?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So should I show you one more, or maybe we can?
Can I also ask a question? It's Nicholas here. So it's you never work with the real photo or real video.
So eventually we want to add, like, for example, in the Continent Hall, I want to add the community to maybe fill in their own maybe 360 pictures or videos, so they can load it up, you know, via the UI that we're going to create through the website. Right now we don't have it, but I don't say we'll never have it. For example, for example, the savanna, right in Africa. There are amazing 360 videos of the hot air balloon flying above savanna. So I can bring it in here. But the point of the most important point, let me go back to the continuous hope. The most important point is not just to bring like other platforms, like the Wonder they're using, the Street View, right? So maybe some other apps that give you access to that. The point not only to just show you random destinations, we want to teach you how they connect, what's the size of it, how they correlate with each other. If you're planning a trip there, for example, if you're going to Europe, let me stop it for a second. If you're going to Europe, if you're going to Europe, going to multiple countries is not the same as when you travel into Australia, right? When through Italy, you can drive in 2 hours across. And a lot of people don't understand it. So it's very difficult to just Google it or go from one page to another. It's very confusing. So we're trying to create a system that will make it easy, comfortable for everybody to understand the entire world. Any question?
I see a a question here. Will you work with school programs? How will you deploy this to students?
So what we're thinking right now, of course, we want to talk to the education community because we want to listen from you how you think we should approach it. Right now, my understanding is that a lot of schools already have VR headsets. And what we're going to start working, we're going to not only give you the environment, we're going to fill it up with information, right? Like, for example, New York City, we're going to give you a list of places in New York City. So that will not be for free to the general public, right? So a certain big part of the environments are going to be per environment or per tour. Or, for example, another thing we're thinking is to have a guide. That guide will be listed, and then as educators or somebody you can reach out to guide will be vetted. They are in the environment. If your student group or if your group wants to hire an actual guide local, so you can hire them, right? So they will set up prices as well. And as far as the pricing, we want to talk to students and schools. Maybe we'll set up some kind of yearly payment that will unlock all of the environments, right? So all the students a year, there will be a set fee for a year, and it's all going to be free. And how do you deploy? It's just setting it up as a regular app per headset. So the student will help them up. They will install the app and log in with their credentials, and then every headset will have the app available.
Thank you so much for sharing and answering that question. I love your vision, and I'm excited to see how it will impact students and people around the world. I definitely have always wanted to go to Machu Picchu, but I would not want to create environmental impacts from being there. And now I won't have that opportunity, except for in the way that I would want to do it the best here in VR. So thank you.
Thank you, Paige.
You're welcome.
She has my name too.
Yes.
Any other questions? Layout seems, oh, Celeste, hi Celeste. Layout seems very intuitive. Yes, it wasn't easy. It's not like I woke up. It was a lot of different iterations, a ton. Because I'm a travel nerd. I have a whole bunch of books. I'm constantly thinking, learning, watching documentaries, and I just always thinking, how can we make it easy? How can we make it comfortable? Sometimes I would create an environment, and if I personally don't want to go there, I'm like, okay, I don't want it because I don't want to go there. It's uncomfortable, make me confused. So I remove it, the environment. I love it. Taking an approach should make travel industry less leery of VR. Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like a travel industry follows the customer, And if I would approach the travel industry up front, they would say, no, what are we going to do there? Right? They don't want to. I was in the travel industry. I was the same way. So Kurt looks great. Karen, hi Karen. Love the design. I see. Amany, you send I think you sent me a direct message. Let me resend it with all
Oh,
the.
sorry.
No problem. Let
No,
me.
no, no, that's me to everyone. So
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, no, I have a comment because I've been actually thinking about your app, and I teach language learning, and sometimes I usually use Google Maps uh to show my students certain things instead of them just looking at a book and learning from it. And sometimes this book doesn't have images, and I mean, if you really want to discuss differences between things in nature, for example, you just need to be immersed in VR. And also my students, they come from different countries in South America, and sometimes they talk about Angel Falls or other places. And it's really interesting that I was talking to them about Engage and how they have Angel Falls on that in that 360 room.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine having this in virtual reality where students can interact. So I feel like this is really great what you're doing, and you're really solving lots of problems in education.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that
Uh,
go ahead.
yes, no, no, sorry, there was a question.
Oh,
Uh, from message. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. She's the participant is asking, what is the cost of using the platform?
so the platform, of course, is free. You know, the majority of it, the conference halls, of course, we want to create an environment where people can host events, like kind of like Altspace feel, where maybe a travel company, I want to go to Alaska, right? So maybe we'll invite Alaska travel provider company and they can host an event for us. So that part is of course free. We are also trying to still monetize it. There will be the environments, as I said, will probably be paid, and we're still trying to figure out the price range. I was talking to my friend the other day, and I said, "What would you pay here?" Because she went to Grand Canyon. She was mind blown. She goes, "I just came from camping, and I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Where this one, I would pay, I would pay to go. I would pay $100 to go." I was like, "Well, no, we can't do $100." So we're still trying to figure out, maybe it will be either $20 per environment you unlock. I don't know if I want to do subscription model, but I want to hear from you guys. And like, if the school has, we're still figuring out, maybe it's 150 per license per year per app, or it depends. And we want to hear from the educator community. What is the budget? What would you even pay? How would you pay? For what part would you pay? We want to talk about that from you, with you. So if anybody has any idea, just throw it in here and say, I would pay this much money for this part. Because we also, another thing what we want to bring in is tools for educators and maybe students. So if we give you an environment, you not only do what we put in there, right? We can put something basic, but then there is an educator or tour guide that knows a lot more details. I, as a tour guide, I know that AI cannot replace what I did. AI can answer some basic questions, but living there, going into little nooks and crannies and taking you guys into the cutest coffee shop or telling you cutest stories about things. And we had 2,000 licensed tour guides in New York, and everyone was specializing on something unique and niche tours. So we want to give you guys an opportunity to build on top of what we have. So maybe that part also will be also like for premium members that have access to like hosting privileges, tour guide, tour building privileges and stuff like that.
Yeah, Karen is asking a question about number 20 that appeared next to the visit button for individual places. Does that refer to the number of people
Yes.
each space can accommodate?
It's up to 20 right now. But again, we're using a free Photon service. So Photon is a multiplayer provider. We're using free. They can go up to 50. And then as in Allspace, in other platform, if it was more than 50, then the environment was split. So that's kind of like deep engineering problem right now. We're just using that for 20. But again, if we're starting to apply for grants, if you guys have any investors in mind or grant opportunities that we can tap into, that'll be amazing. We can do so much more, so much faster.
Yeah, that's great.
There's a
Uh,
Okay, this is great, Evgenia. Amazing evolution of hard work, expertise, design. Wow, it seems like working to make your platform as accessible as possible, aiming to flexibly support various ways to represent the travel info would be a really amazing market and service. Have you thought about specializing in that way? It seems like working to make. You mean plot? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Sure. Um, just I was thinking about how this is such a great thing, and I've seen a variety of efforts, allowing people to go to different places in the world when they are physically unable to go there, or because it's dangerous, or it's costly, or environmental impacts. There's all these ways, but for people with disabilities, who that is a subset of those people, you could specifically look for ways to make your platform adjustable so that they can get that. If they have low eyesight, you can create text to speech. If they don't hear very well, you can have the sounds translated into texts and subtitles. You can adjust the contrast. But by putting some of these supports into your platform, I think people could go on these tours, and they're just widening the scope of some of the people who are unable to go to those places in the first place, and just adding some of those accessibility features as a focused effort might be a good market strategy. Just as a thought.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, older people and senior community and disability is also a big market for us. As soon as we get a little bit off the ground, right now we're like, the ground is here and we're like over here. We just barely lift ourselves. But
Totally.
like once we start rolling, then we're gonna think about all different markets for sure.
And AI could help leverage that, using your platform, have AI support you to what are the different ways that we could, address representations and the interface and, even in the creation of some of that content. But yeah, cool. Really amazing stuff. Thank you. This is great.
Thank you. And I'm gonna send my email. I think Amany shared. If you guys want,
I shared it.
try the platform. I have a mailing list. We are, I try to send updates once we have a little more, build up. And in a couple of weeks, maybe I can set up a tour of the platform where we can go and have a demo event, because now I'm bringing a couple of people at a time to test it, and it works. The other week we had an event with Laurel and a couple of other people. It was great. It was exciting. It was because when Altspace closed, I was heartbroken, and I thought that, okay, maybe I'll go to VR chat, or maybe I'll go to something else. And I started looking into it, and there's a lot of restrictions, and there's just different vibe and different things people are looking for. So I thought, you know what, I want to build that on my own, because I don't fit into any other existing platform. And how hard can it be? Guys do it. They build it. So
I love your spirit. That's great. Yeah, and look how far you've come in developing this. This is really great. Yeah, kudos. I will be sending you an email for sure.
Yeah, send me an email and I will add you to my mailing list, and I will definitely give you an access to the platform.
Okay, Will do. Thanks. What else? Do we have other questions or comments?
I don't think so, but I have a comment about grants
Mhm.
because I've also I'm developing something for language learning, and I've been asking many people about who do grant writing. And one of the things that I realized asking these people and also asking educators is that usually educators, they don't have time to create something in VR, or they need guidance. Okay, so they need uh, a virtual world that's aligned with the curriculum,
Mhm.
and also pedagogical approaches, something like Bloom's taxonomy, for example, the higher order thinking skills.
Mhm.
And so some like when writing for a grant proposal, and I'm just thinking of that after asking some people, is that maybe you can highlight the importance as well as the pedagogical approaches and the curriculum, aligning it with the curriculum, so that like you can convince the committee or those who are reading your proposal that that it's like you know what, like you're doing the right thing for the educators and you're aligning that with the curriculum as well. Because this is actually one of the things that we usually find problematic when we design for education, that it's cool is even the AI agent, for example, thanks to generative AI, we can align it to the curriculum. In the past, it wasn't possible,
Mhm.
uh, even though it was artificial intelligence. And sometimes people would use voice design, for example, like Alexa or Dialogflow. But there are actually some applications that would make you enable you to align it to the curriculum and also create the specific knowledge for that AI agent.
Yeah. Well, if you have any grant suggestions, if you can send me, and I will look
Sure.
into
Yeah.
the requirements, that would be great. And also, I would like to hear you guys just throw in a number, just for all the participants. Like, what do you think? What part of the app should be monetized and how much? Because this is so important for me. One of the most important questions, right? So why don't you just randomly give me a number or something in the chat? That would be great. What do you think, Jonathan? Let's start with you. And
Well, I
Dion,
mean, I think you're at a crossroads of many, well, it's many different crossroads, right? Literally, haha. Um, but the directions that like, where are the opportunities, and like what design decisions do you need to make to go after a particular market audience? Like, and by chasing after one audience, are you leaving behind a different audience? Or can you make a generic travel expo thing that works for everybody? I mean, coming up with a utility, like a basic tool that works for everyone, is great, but sometimes that's really hard, especially in VR, where you have to make design decisions about giving people a perspective and creating a particular context. Well, luckily you have like all these awesome places all over the world that are like world destinations. And you can, like, I was kind of thinking like you could separate, like the history buffs, there's the, like, who are the audience types? The history buffs, the people who just want to travel and see the glory and the beauty and the magic of all these places. And those could be related, but they're kind of two different types, you
yeah,
know? Um, the people who, I don't know, like, want to know the historical, cultural context,
mhm,
that could be a lens for design and development. And there's way too many potential areas for development as well, especially when you start, like Amany's talk about learning. Teachers want content that works for their particular kind of learners, right? So if the curriculum works for them, and also the way that the knowledge is um, conveyed is very important. So how to address those things from the standpoint of a platform like yours? There's all these design decisions and like really chasing after ways of getting specific in those contexts in ways that would then be useful for these different audiences. But it's a fascinating like opportunity to be able to think about. I mean, have you fed a lot of this to Chat GPT and other open AI and spit out all the range of
Well,
things?
I have a range in my mind, but again, as you said, the design decision will be based on the target audience. For me, thinking and talking to a lot of people, right? We hosted a lot of events. I talk a lot to people. We pointed this age the students that not like K through 12, but like students that already at university that like already have brain, already know what they want, but they
Right,
still don't know. They don't know a lot, right? And
right.
they're curious enough to be excited. And this was shown, when I was at USF last week. It was amazing. They were chasing after me. They would not leave me. They're like, let me try it, let me try it. And then they went to the professor. They go, no, we need the app. And I'm standing behind listening. Oh, that's what my app can do. And they go, the professor, yes, let's do it. Let's get the app. So that's why, and I'm so excited. I have a meeting and I told them, let's meet in the mosque because I can, set up. And I reached out to another professor. He is at FGCU here at South Florida. Florida Gulf Coast University. He's ahead of the engineering club, right? So he went to my meetups because I was running a meetups for a long time for VR/AR in this area. So he knows me, and I texted him. I said, "Well, you might not know me. We never met." He goes, "I know who you are." So he's like, "I know who you are." I'm like, "Can
Yeah,
I come in and bring my app?" He goes, "Of course." And so I'm gonna go there with my app to the student club, the computer engineer club. So that's a great target for me. So that's what I think I want to target, like just the student groups for now and see where
right.
that goes.
And you've got sort of situations that different classroom environments you would put them in, like the computer club. I see where you're going. This made me think of, yeah, like students who are, like you say, they don't need quite the hand holding and absolute structure, and they can use this geography app to connect across the curriculum in different applied ways.
Mhm.
I see what you're saying.
There,
That makes good sense. So
there is like
you've narrowed that down nicely.
there are a couple of approaches that I'm thinking is that first of all, the universities almost all have VR headset, right? They might not use them on a regular basis for classroom, but they have them at the library.
Right.
So, and we could start with that. We could say, okay, why don't we set up a couple of paid accounts and your students can go there anytime they want and they can connect to the app and we can always be in touch. We can always send you what's events going on. So we can keep in touch with your student community. And then the girls at the university were talking to a professor that focuses on the culture learning and history. So they might use it as a supplemental tool for their education. When they learn about something, they can say, okay, next week we're going to do a field trip, right? For 30
Yeah.
minutes, 40 minutes field trip, if the university supports enough headset for the class.
That's
So,
fantastic. Yeah, so like getting these use cases and these examples of ways that professors and others, lead facilitators of any kind, are integrating your platform into their teaching and learning environments for success, and you're like showcasing those or finding out what worked about those and extracting the principles out of those, like why did it work in this one, and also paying attention to the ones where it doesn't work so well, like hounding after them and like what went wrong, because that helps you make a more robust thing too. You're right on track. This is great.
Yes.
I love
hopefully.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I just want to comment on that example that you gave, which is really a great one for higher order thinking skills. When you said when you talked about that student who went into the environment, I don't remember what the name, but you said that she said, I remember this and I remember that.
Machu
And
Picchu.
this, yeah, and this can be a good way of teaching students like storytelling, for example. Um, yeah, there are lots of pedagogical ways in which students can apply that.
Oh.
And actually, this can reduce development because you just give them the tools and then they can start developing and, sorry, start building. And co-building is one of the awesome things in virtual reality that also aligns with Bloom's taxonomy, higher order thinking skills. And that's great.
Yeah, yeah. You can give them homework. One student will talk about, right, environment and do a presentation, do a research, and then the whole student group will come and they will bring up their maybe images from the past, how it was, or yeah, definitely. I'm excited because I love history more than I love just to travel. I love learning, right? So I'm excited to bring it. So great for museum education. Another thing is that what we want to, a lot of museums, they already have a digital twin of their museum, right? So if you can get hold, if you know anybody, you know, across the world, a museum that you can connect with. I know there's one I want to reach out to. They have a digital twin of old New Amsterdam. New Amsterdam in Manhattan. So the whole, they have a whole 3D model. So we can collaborate with them, maybe bring it in the app, and student can go, as I remember I said that the history in layers. So we're gonna do a portals into the timeline. So the student, okay, how was it before? Let's go look how New Amsterdam was compared to what Manhattan is right now. So there's a lot of opportunities. We just need funding. We just need the grant funding because we already proved that we can build. It's not talking, it's building. So if you have any ideas, send us the information. We would like to continue working on it.
Have you thought like about a NSF SBIR grant?
Never heard of it.
Small business grants that they give out through the National Science Foundation. There's a number of NSF grants, like you could partner with a university, or some nonprofit organization that we could name, um, on like working with, like DRK-12 is the name of, I think, of the NSF, like working with K-12 students to see whether a specific intervention would work with a population. So if you found, you know, like you were saying, high school students might be a good population because they're more higher order thinking, and can use your platform in some of these ways, and then collaborate with a geography teacher. Geography is the ultimate interdisciplinary curriculum, right? And your tourism is geography of going to all these different places. So history and land and all the connected stuff around that. Maybe that would be a potential design path that would turn up to be really lucrative in your architectural like journey.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's very, yeah, I looked into that too, Karen. Yeah, I looked into that too. Research. Okay, I'm gonna look into that too.
Yeah, the Rettle, and there's also good NSF.
I shared the link. I'm not sure if it's that if it's that one. Oh no. Yeah, I think it's that one.
Mm-hmm.
I see that. Research National Science Foundation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then is there a way, you already gave your email out, so if there's anybody here in the webinar, or if they're listening or watching our YouTube video after the webinar, they can send you an email or contact Eiler, and we'll put you in touch.
Yeah, it's just info@vrtravelexpo.com. It will get you to me, and I will send you. And yeah, hopefully we're gonna launch beta later this year, and it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. Right now it's alpha. It's very, yeah. Well, awesome.
Thank you so much,
guys.
Evgeniya.
Thank you, everybody, and keep in touch.
You too. Come back and show us how your progress. We'd love to follow. I'm gonna definitely be in touch.
Thanks, Evgeniya. Congrats on your progress.
Sure. I wish you great success, Evgeniya, because I was really blown away when I saw that, and also I heard your story. After Alt Space was closed down, you took your creations, and then you also implemented that in your app. And it was a great sentiment to see how your dedication and and passion about virtual reality and also facilitating that to educators. That was really fantastic. And you really rocked it today. And thanks for diving deeply into how your app works and those services that you give for teachers, and also how the students were blown away by your application. And I really see lots of, I mean, it's really there. I mean, you're already there, and it has a great potential, and I really love it. I would take my students to that application too. Yeah, definitely. And thanks everybody for joining us. And we look forward for another guided adventure as awesome as today and previous times.
Yeah.
We really look for amazing innovators, educators, developers to show us their creations and their VR apps, whether in the metaverse or virtual reality apps like Evgeniya showed us today, or some creations as well, even if it's not their own application. And I would like to thank everybody today for attending, for interacting, and I don't think that will ever uh, um, end with the guided adventures. Like we're gonna have lots of guided adventures as awesome as we've seen today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Evgeniya.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Amany. And
Thank
thank you
you.
everyone for coming. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks.